All right, and welcome back to the Inside Star Citizen Review. That's right, it's a show dedicated to people who like to chill out, who have open minds, that like to talk about game design in their favorite game, Star Citizen. That's right. Usually what ends up happening is we have great discussion over here by the family. I've seen people in the YouTube comments after I'm done with the stream that actually will comment on the things that are being commented now live while we're having this. I want to thank everybody joining me here live first off, because it's a special thing that you took the time out with me to chill out and watch this with me. And I think it's a fun way in which to view Inside Star Citizen. To me, it's all I love to do. It's what I look forward to every Thursday. Thursday is my favorite day. I know I get to sit down and talk with you guys, and that's what I am about. So let's watch it here. I'm turning up my volume just a touch, and let's get into Inside Star Citizen. We're going to be talking about weather. We talked about it. 2015, 2016, we were theory crafting. We said we wanted dynamic weather. We're starting to see more proof of it going into 3.8. I can't wait for 3.8. How many of you out there can't wait for 3.8? I think 3.8. I thought 3.7 was crazy, waiting for 3.7 with FPS mining and everything that was added to 3.7. And I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to feel like this again for a long time. And interestingly enough, I got a back-to-back feeling. 3.7, 3.8. Killian, you're lying. I know you give a shit. With the introduction of SOCS, we talked about that today earlier on stream, should be really interesting. Anyway, let's see and let's watch.
Planetary effects. Whether that's drifting sand and dust in the deserts, blizzards in the frozen tundra, or rainfall in the wetlands, using the various surface types covering Star Citizen's planets and moons to create particle effects that can enhance the look and feel of a location has been a goal of the project for some time. That's why in this week's show, we met with members of the VFX team to discuss this important milestone on the journey towards dynamic planet-wide weather, and what backers can expect to experience to some degree on all planets and moons in the upcoming Alpha 3.8.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Now, some people in Evo telling me that it's not as static as you guys think it is. So I'm really excited experiencing myself. Let's see what they tell us.
These
Need that vag.
It's something I'm really passionate about, not least because even though it's like a big effort for the VFX team and it kind of brings us all together and we have to coordinate really well, it also brings us together with the other teams as well. So obviously without the environment art team, we wouldn't be able to generate ground effects. So we have to work really closely with those teams. Audio as well, like you can't really have like intense weather effects or storm effects without the good audio that kind of really makes it feel like you're in a storm.
Oh man, oh man, that's really just, I am liking that. Wow.
That's always been the appealing thing of working in games anyway. It's working with multiple teams and all kind of coming together and just being able to release this product that is really kind of incredible.
So we work programmers, artists, QA, all in the same team. So we have a lot of back and forth, especially with these things. It's a process to get to this result.
Oh, it's starting to feel alive, man. I'm starting to see it, and the temperature's going to affect us. And oh my God, hold on a second. Let me just. Oh, okay. I'm getting too excited. This is what makes a game alive to me. Is starting to see these things like hitting. Once they start hitting, okay. This is good. This is good. This is good. I like to see this. I like to see it.
The important thing to bear in mind is that a lot of people see this as weather, but whilst weather is a big part of that, the actual work that we were doing was planet effects. So one of the drivers of the effects, when we talk about rule sets, one of the main things that we did there was wind. The surface type kind of designates what is that effect going to be. So is it sand, is it snow? And then it's the wind that's actually going to push those things around. So when you've got the combination of wind and surface types together, that gives us the ground storms and the things that really kind of make it look very dynamic and spectacular.
Surface type we use to mark up our planet terrain, basically. We have a list of surface types that the planet can be, whether that's snow, sand, soil, rock, metal, and then that effectively takes up the top of our hierarchy for the planet effects, where we can tie a whole library of effects to one surface type. And then with programming wizardry, we can
I'm wondering if what I was looking at there were the climate maps that we were talking about at CitizenCon, especially when I did my planetary V4 tech video, when we talked about climate maps and how they played a role into not only helping artists paint large swaths of the planet, but also had some type of key indicators with like the temperatures and the actual the weather systems around those areas.
basically say, okay, well, this whole area here is made of snow. Let's try and spawn all these snow effects in the library. One of the most
so they're pulling from the library.
We had to do for this was some system for level of detail. When you're up in space, it's going to look different to when you're inside it. Plus, we don't want to be spawning the same effects because it's going to be expensive and we don't want to melt people's graphics cards. So from far away, we can define a different effect that's maybe a bit cheaper, looks a bit different, and behaves differently. So we can have up to 8 levels of detail. And the closer you get, it'll switch out which level of detail is currently being spawned. So until you get all the way in, and then that's where a special lodge, which is the fog lodge, starts spawning, which is the one that's immediately around you. But we can fill it up with the fog lodge, which is volumetric fog that we can change the colour of, noise, density, whatever else. And it gives it a bit more of a full feeling to it, where you had loads of big sort of blowing snow particles going past the camera.
So we already had a whole suite of particle effects visible on a planet's surface, but on its own it doesn't really...
Did you guys see that? Holy shit. That was fucking amazing looking. What the...
Sell the idea that you are inside of that storm or inside of that rain cloud. That's why it was very crucial to add another layer of that realism, where when you are flying through a snowstorm, you would see actual tiny molten pieces of snow on the visor, or if you were outside of your vehicle, it would be it would be canopy on a spaceship, but the visor on your helmet if you are outside. And that actually binds these two elements together, where you see all these storm effects outside, and then you actually see that affecting you as a player.
That's a great question, Invisible, and the answer, I believe, is no, that you will not be able to disable it. And if they put that feature in, shame on SIG if they do that. I want this across the board for every single player, and if people are complaining about this, go away. You're playing at the deep end of the pool right now. You see what I'm saying? Exactly, Invisible. Exactly, dude.
It sits literally on your visor. It affects your vision.
That should never be part of the game mechanics. If I swear to God, see, now Invisible's going to get me ranting. I don't want a part of the game mechanics. I do not want weather to be able to be turned off with the flick of a switch. Everybody should experience the weather, whether it's a sunny, shiny day or a shit day. I want everybody to have that experience. Yes, Killian's like, it won't happen.
Vision, essentially, which is non-directly affecting the gameplay as well.
Look at that!
Because it's not a statistic where the visibility...
Would you look at this? Would you guys look at this? This is insane. This is insane. Info runners. Could you, right, like you're in a battle, weather's gonna be huge. Huge. Weather can make or break you in a battle, man. Whoo!
Ability is reduced. It's actually you having problems seeing objects. So I think that's a really nice.
It's beautiful. Joe, it's chaos, Joe. Joe says how unfair that would be in combat. Come on, it's beautiful. It's called chaos, and I love it.
Using visuals to drive the gameplay, but also making you feel as if the temperature was low. It was actually UV in the winter.
So what's the difference between planetary effects and weather? Well, really there is no difference in terms of the effects themselves. It's basically building a system for planetary effects that will feed into weather when we do get dynamic weather further down the line. The V4 tech really enabled us to do
So the V4 tech is helping them. It's not implemented yet. They are working on it. We want an automated dynamic weather system. What they're showing us now is not a dynamic weather system. It's them going into their library, putting it into the game and saying, here are the different weather effects so that you can see them. We are putting them in, but we will eventually get it to the point where the humidity maps play a part, where the climate maps take part, and it automates this weather. That's what we have been pounding the table for since 2015. We said it. People were saying, no, it's a waste of time. DG, you don't know shit. And look how amazing it looks now. Eat some crow. Everybody that was saying, oh, this doesn't matter, dude, that looks to me like it matters, and it has amazing, wide-ranging effects on a lot of different things. The survival mechanics, the temperature themselves, what you're wearing, combat. There's so many things that the weather's going to affect, just like in real life. This is realism. This is realism. I just want to make sure that we get to the point where it is automated. By the way, we're having a giveaway, everybody. Just letting you know.
Do a lot of that stuff that we couldn't previously do with Planet Tech V3. The things that drive the effects are really the important part of this process, and one of those drivers will be weather. So what we've actually got in 3.8 is we have surface types and we have the wind.
So we have this global wind map. This is right now the
Dude, I did. Info says, did you see the lightning strike first time some unlucky badger gets fried when in combat? Dude. There's gonna be so much bitching and moaning too, man. I died from lightning. Deal with it, bitch.
best way for us to control where there will be wind and where there won't be wind, and to change wind dynamically. This is a texture wrapped around the planet, and it defines the wind direction and the wind speed. With this wind map, it's quite easy to change for artists to say, like, we want to have like strong winds in a certain position.
What's up, buddy?
But we can also rotate this wind map, and that's what we used in CitizenCom to make the storm appear. For 3.8, we will also have these rotating wind maps to create some kind of dynamic weather on most of the planets.
Even with all the kind of planning in the world, there's always going to be things that you realise as you're making things. So to be honest, as a process, it's been really interesting. There's been lots of new ideas that we've had as we've been implementing existing ideas. It might have been, there's several examples where we've kind of thought of better ways to do it. There was new optimizations that came in that we hadn't really thought about previously, but became very obvious as we started to see the effects covering planets and from out in space and things like that.
When using particle system to spawn this high number of particles, in order to do that, we need to implement a number of optimization techniques. One thing we had to do was implement a technique called half-res, and the way it works is you only render to a fraction of full resolution. Obviously,
this is insane. Watching these objects react to simulated wind. This is insane. Look at that.
Reduces the quality, and in order to combat that, we have implemented some custom filters that we apply when we scale up, and this results in hardly any visual difference, but considerate boost in performance.
Wait a second, I gotta rewind that. This is insane, dude. This is insane.
This results in hardly any visual difference. But
Old Man Jay, dude, what do you mean this episode wasn't that good? Old Man Jay, I know you're still there. This is amazing to me.
Boost in performance.
So pre-age particles are a new feature that we're implementing right now. It's going to go in the immediate future. Right now, when we move a certain distance away from where we were 10 seconds ago, those particles could still exist. It's expensive. So instead what we're going to do is you move away, those particles get deleted.
So Info brings up a great point. Now start multiplying this over different types of terrain, like desert, rain or an ocean world, molten lava worlds. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it for one moment. That makes me so excited. This is what I've wanted for a long time. This is great to see this.
Because you don't see them anymore. And now we're going to spawn.
Oh, did you do that on purpose?
Already aged a bit and give the impression that they would already exist.
Shame on you, Old. I love it. Old did that on purpose. He's like, it wasn't that good of an episode. I knew it, dude. You set me up. That's awesome. That's funny, dude.
Rather than them being born and aging from scratch, which should give the impression that the planet
Thank you.
is
I'm glad you trolled me, dude.
spawning these effects, and they existed even though they weren't in your render distance.
Wow.
So the work that we've done on planetary effects through the year, really, even from the very start of the year, it's been a really long road. We've put everything into it really as a team. We've been really focused. We had the kind of high-level goals right from the start, and we've stuck to them. We've been really true to what we wanted to achieve. It's been a kind of long journey, I guess, but we're really excited to see the results in 3.8.
Spaceships. For all the various aspects that make up the Star Citizen universe, things
I would just like to say that I got the correct information. They're going to be talking about the Ares right here. And I would just let you guys know that on my channel, I've actually put the technical specs out before this Inside Star Citizen even released. And I did it correctly, unlike other content creators out there. Just letting you guys know. Hashtag professional here. Now let's talk about the Ares, even though people on my channel know everything that there is to know about it.
always seem to come back to your spaceship. For some, a ship can serve as a home away from home. For others, simply a means to an end. For others still, maybe just a way to show off to your friends and enemies. Of Star Citizen's 160 plus spaceships and vehicles, it's pretty easy to find a ship and reason that's right for you. And the folks
Which, by the way, we had a wonderful conversation today, and we talked about how it would be very nice of Cloud Imperium to look at concepts that were done years ago that are still concepts, and to start reinvesting the amount of time and manpower where people are focusing on new ships. We understand they need the revenue. They need to keep bringing in. They're coming out with one ship a month now, but it would be nice to actually put that manpower and put it back into those people that spent the money on concepts that have been out for a long time, where people, have put the money into these ships. It's something that really needs to be voiced out there. There are a lot of concepts still on the table that are older, that if they just, and I get it, because they'd have like a dip in sales, but to me, I think that would be like a reinvestment into the community. It would be a sign of good faith. So Jared, I know you followed the channel and I know you watch from time to time. You kind of every once in a while watch what our community is saying to get a read on what we're thinking, but this is directly to you. Like, I would highly recommend that you guys take the manpower that you do to put towards new concepts and take those people and reinvest it into like older concepts where people have bought these and they're waiting for these ships. I think it's worth a slight loss in revenue. Just saying. Thank you, Mark, for that follow, dude.
Folks at Crusader Industries have a new offering that they think you're going to be interested in.
I like
That's
the
why
Ares,
we sat
though.
down with John
just
Crew
saying, I
and
like
Paul
the Ares.
Jones to find out more about the recently announced Ares Starfighter.
So the Ares Starfighter is another
I like
heavy
the looks.
fighter that fits in our universe to complement the Vanguard and the F8.
So this was meant to be
And
relatively small.
And tell him, guys, family, tell him now. You guys got a concept that you want to see flight ready? Tell him now, right here. If you've got a concept ship that's currently, you've been waiting for, just put it right there so they know what we're talking about. It's serious. It's serious. This is like, we get to Crusader, we talk as asymmetrical designs. I'm really liking Crusader as a manufacturer. Like, it's really coming together for me. I think Crusader's becoming one of my favorite manufacturers.
Craft, but with a massive punch. And that, in a nutshell, is what we were given.
The Ares, with its size 7 gun, is great for tackling large and capital ships and heavily armoured ground targets. It's the Star Citizen equivalent of the A-10 Warthog. It also has a big complement of size 3 missiles held in both external missile pods or missile racks that can be customised. And then it also has some internal bespoke racks that keep it all internally inside the body and just feeds them out in a big magazine-style launcher.
Dude,
We did quite
ridiculous there. 16 size 3 missiles with, it looks to me, size 5 torps, 4 of them. This is going to be a beast of a ship. Don't think that it's a pussy of a this is not a wimp ship. It's going to duel out damage. It might. Okay, here's the thing. It's going to duel out a ton of damage. Yes, it might get hit pretty fast. Some people are calling it glass cannon. I'm not quite sure about it. I'm not quite sure. It's built as a heavy type fighter role. I'm thinking it could take at least some damage. Yeah, glass hammer, some people are calling it. I'm not quite sure until, we see the proof of it in game. And, if I start seeing this thing blowing up like left and right, I'm just going to say this is a complete, amazing firepower, output, damage. This thing is going to be... Info Runner says so many melted eclipses today. I heard the scream of eclipses, Info. Totally, my friend. That's funny because when I was putting this up here and I was putting the video out on the Ares, I was thinking exactly that. Like, if you listen really hard, you can hear all those eclipses screaming in the distance.
A lot of variations with guns in different places in the center, on the side. We even looked at going to an S6, which is only a drop of one number, but in terms of meters, it's quite big. And then when you went to an S6, the ship then, it looked more like a ship with a gun attached rather than a gun with a ship attached.
Yes. I like that design feature. A lot of people reported this wrong. A lot of people said a size 6. It is not. This is a size 7 fixed bearing laser on this Ion, guys. Like, this is no joke. This is no joke. Interestingly enough, Vegna, I am big on seeing what's going to come to us with the Cutlass Red. I know that's not on a lot of people's radar, but the Cutlass Red is very interesting to me in terms of game mechanics and medic mechanics, and I've talked about it here on the channel quite often. Just to bring about a little bit more kind of game mechanics. Vegna was saying what ship I'm actually looking forward to, and I really want to see what the Cutlass Red has in store because I'm a big Cutlass fan, I'm a big Drake fan, and I just want to see how they're outfitting the ship. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to in the future. I kind of got pissed that they pushed it back to January, but I really wanted it done by Christmas. I really did. A lot of people in my Discord know that too. I got a little salty. I got a little salty about how they pushed it back.
So we have two variants for the Starfighter, one more energy focused, one ballistic focused. They are full hull variants, they're not just sort of named variants. The energy one, the Ion, has an energy cannon by default, but it also has an additional power plant, shield, and cooler to power that.
I just love the looks of this ship. Personally, I do like that gunmetal black of the Inferno. Like I just like, and I've always liked that kind of air to planetary side gameplay, Personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Inferno, even though the stats on the Ion are more geared for like a laser type platform. Of course, you got a size 7 bearing laser. You're going to need an additional battery. You're going to need additional cooler. And it actually has an additional shield generator as well. So this thing's like a power hungry beast. This thing is going to just suck power like a Nosferatu. This thing's going to go insane.
Because it
and
is
overheat, and forget about it. The overheat's going to be ridiculous. I think if I have anything negative to say about this ship, is that some people are going to say eventually that the ship's damage output is too OP. If I had a negative thing to say about the Ares, is that there are going to be people out there that are going to bitch about how OP the damage output on this is. That's me speculating here, but people will say, fuck this, it's too OP and blah, blah, blah. And somehow SIG may listen and then nerf it, and that makes me scared because as far as my ships on the highly nerfable list, the Ares hits the top of that list. Like if there is a ship that is going to get nerfed, this is the ship. So just be careful about that because God only know that there's so many people out there that are going to bitch and moan, I believe, about how OP the damage output's going to be.
Capital sized weapon on a medium ship.
Speculation.
So it's well outside the normal parameters for a ship. So that is quite a difference to the Inferno ballistic version.
Yeah, it's the look. It's the look that I like about the Inferno better. I mean, I'm sorry. I know normally I'm a function over looks kind of guy. Normally I go for that function over the look. I know I do, and shame on me. Smack myself in the hand. Smack myself in the hand. But I'm telling you what, this ship was my dream ship when I was a kid, playing with them G.I. Joes, Cobra Commander, all this shit. When I was a child, this is the one I would have bought at KB Toy Store. This is the one I would have got. See what I'm saying?
Which has a ballistic repeater sort of Gatling gun on it. That doesn't need the extra power plant and cooler to function, so it trades that out for extra ammo capacity. It has much heavier armor, which the Ion doesn't have, because it needs those extra components to function, so it can't deal with the extra weight of armor on top. So you have one ship with two different play styles within the single gun ship range.
Don't walk towards the light, says Info. In Effigy says I'm compensating for something. I'm going with the squat ballistic model there in Effigy. I'll just have you know, I'm not going with the long protruding Ion, if you know what I'm saying. I'm completely comfortable with everything. Yeah, so what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. Would you look at that?
So what did we learn this week? We learned that the biggest and baddest of features can often take the collective efforts of teams and disciplines across the world. That planetary effects are the first major milestone on the road to full-scale dynamic global weather making its way to Star Citizen. And that Crusader spaceships aren't just intended to excel in their given task. They clearly want you to look cool as all heck doing it. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee, and we'll see you next week.
Woo! Oh man, 11 minutes. We're on that threshold of where we like the timing put on these. We're at that 11 to 15 minute sweet spot. They hit it. I think this was a good episode. Personally, I put this one as a solid B+, almost A. I might even go A. I'm a hard ass about my grades. You know, very rarely have we ever hit an A on any episode. And let me tell you something. I think we're real close to it. This honestly got me more excited than the Jump Point episode. Is that crazy? Am I the only one that feels this way? Like, I feel like this actually got me more excited than Jump Points. To see the graphics from the weather and to know how the graphics are going to affect, and to know how the weather is going to affect us, I feel like this is bigger and better in terms of my eyeballs. Like, I feel like the eye candy just hit my face. And I'm like, and I'm trying to like compensate for the fact that I just saw pretty much amazingness. It brings it to life. It does. It makes planets feel alive. It makes the gameplay much more immersive. You're getting into the gameplay, things around you. We were talking about that earlier on the stream today. OG saying, I'm betting it gets nerfed. There's going to be a lot of crying. That's why I think that as well. I think that as well, bro. I can't wait till we get to the same game more populated. We were talking about that earlier today. Oh my God, we had a lengthy discussion. There was a lot of people from this morning's 400 votes, 400 plus votes from our community on what they thought was the most important aspects in terms of game development with Star Citizen. And man, guys, that was like an hour long that we talked. That was ridiculously fun. I mean, it got like 56, 57 comments, 60 comments. I was going through every single one. And at times we were trudging. We were trudging like this motherfucker in the snow. We were trudging. What's up, Boba? Long time no see. Good to see you on the stream, man. You just hit the end of it. Don't worry. We're posted on YouTube. By the way, I would like to thank my family. This is my family, everybody. I'd like to introduce you to my family. They're great people, open-minded, awesome to talk to. I absolutely love them. It's my favorite day of the week is just to chill out with you guys. I hope you guys had a good time here with me. I had a wonderful time. I got to go help Dev. He's still feeling kind of sick. But hopefully I can get a stream in tomorrow. I don't know, but the content's going to flow on the YouTube channel. And let me just tell you guys how much I love you for all the support and everything you do for DG360 and those that we love here and that are friends of our channel. I will always be here for you guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you on the next vid or stream.